1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. You work yourself up. That he jumped into the deep end without a life jacket, and that's why he failed.
Yeah,
I'm saying if he would have done the Adam Hodgins dragging training slayer method, he would be killing dragons today. He wouldn't have got eaten in that last shot. He would have won.
He would have gone right through the dragon.
Yeah, it would have been no problem. So McConaughey, reach out. I like your body of work. I just think we can take your next action role to the next level with proper training.
For Reign of Fire, the prequel.
Yeah. Drizzle of Fire.
Whoa.
Reign of Fire, the storm is coming.
There it is. Oh, man. But I just love that story that he shared. Like, this is
an incredible story.
This is how he prepared for his role in Reign of Fire. And I gotta tell you, when I released this article in 2017, I had some pinch me moments of arguments with people about how far he jumped. Because in my article on Movies, Films, and Flicks, which I will link to, I suggest that he traveled 35 feet in the air.
And I want to say, going in, Mark, after reviewing your data and the footage, I think you are way safe within the 35-foot mark. I would say if you told me it was 40 or 42, that I would believe that as well. But you within 35 are well within the safe parameters of this jump.
And the thing that made me so happy, people looked at me. They were like, "Listen, Mark, like this isn't." Like, not Mark. They're like, listen, this is how it worked out. He didn't travel that far because she's looking up at him, and that's the same as him, like, pulling back his axe. But if you watch the clip, you see him flying over the head, flying up in the air for easily 15 feet. Easily. He has cleared 15 feet. Then, when they cut back to him, he starts swinging his axe. So when we see him from the below shot looking up, he hasn't started his swinging motion yet. He starts his swinging motion when he's already jumped 15 feet without dropping an inch. So,
and then there's the cutaway shot to her flying at him.
Exactly. So he jumps, you get a close-up of him, then you see her jumping at him, and then he gets eaten. So this guy with an 8 to 10 pound axe, which was for sale for a while, and we could have bought it, but it's sold now, which is kind of a bummer.
Like the actual movie prop?
The actual movie prop, and someone bought it, which is kind of a bummer.
What was the price? What did it sell for?
It didn't say the price. It just said sold. But the thing is, people are arguing with me. Like, no, it's probably like 10 feet. And then I was like, no, watch the clip again. But I just love that I got into a discussion about how far McConaughey jumped in Reign of Fire. Because what I love is you watch a lot of movies such as the Bourne movies where Jason Bourne jumps massive long distances, but he always falls down. He's always dropping down so he jumps from the 5th floor to the 3rd floor. Jackie Chan jumps from the 48th floor to the 47th floor. The Rock jumps from a very high skyscraper and goes down towards a skyscraper. This, though, McConaughey remains parallel with the ground the entire time. And it's hilarious. And I love it. Because you and I talked about this on our earlier episode. What did you think was going to happen, Adam, when he jumped off this thing?
So here's the thing, though, Mark. I want to go back for a second to what you're saying about you had these very pinch-me conversations with people. Because I've been finding lately people are getting like what I call really brand loyal. And what got for me was the Masters of the Universe show that came out on Netflix, the Kevin Smith Masters show. Good, bad, or indifferent, whatever you think about it, people are defending it because the people that are defending it because they love Masters of the Universe, not because it's a good or bad show. And the people that are hating it because they don't like Kevin Smith, whether it's a good or bad show. And so I think it's funny that Matthew McConaughey has such brand loyalty to him that people are like, no, Mark, the jump would have worked. It was his character in this movie, because he's played by Matthew McConaughey, would do nothing that wouldn't really happen in a movie where he's fighting dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like in a bananas concept, you're arguing like, well, no, you're wrong, Mark, because McConaughey would not. It's funny to me. But when I watched this movie, when I saw that, Van Zandt comes in and he's like in a tank, and again the ball, he looks like the hero of this movie. And so when this superhero thing happens, you're like, this dragon, this is the death blow. He's gonna hit this dragon and it's going to be a brave new world for everybody in this world that live in. And what happens is he just goes away. Like there's no drawn out speech. There's no like, oh, you got me, I'm dying, going without me. There's none of that. There's simply he's there for a scene, and then in the next frame he is gone, and that is all you see of him.
He doesn't come back. He doesn't explode from the dragon's mouth or
I was gonna say,
chest.
You don't see the axe cut through the belly at some point in time.
None. He just gets slaughtered. And watching this movie, this was a head scratcher for me. And I remember just laughing because this was a big part of the marketing. And I remember going, man, he's jumping off this thing and he's gonna. But what I love though is what was his plan? This really is not a plan that saves time. No time was saved for this scene. He could have been up there hiding, but instead he wastes no time. The dragon wastes no time and just eats him instead. But I do love that. But also the scene is another kind of outlier because I know it's a bonkers premise, but Reign of Fire is played quite believably. You have crops that are growing. You don't want your crops dying. You need fuel. People smash on the ground when their parachutes don't open. This is a world where this is a believable world. Right. So then when you have McConaughey jumping 35 feet parallel with the ground, it makes everything it's so odd because it's so quick and it's the biggest outlier in this movie. And that's why I think it's always been so memorable for me. And I had to analyze it and I had to make Megan make diagrams for me.
Megan's diagrams belong in a museum.
Yeah, and I love how simple they are because I just wanted to show that if McConaughey jumped and sank, when you jump, when you're 40 feet in the air and you jump, you meet gravity, you start falling. Now, if that happened, the dragon would have smashed right into that tower. The dragon would not have avoided that tower. But instead, the dragon eats McConaughey and just remains over the tower. So McConaughey actually got air while jumping. Like he jumped over the platform. That's how high he jumped. So the dragon snagged him and flew away without damaging the tower.
Right. Now, your original question, Mark, though, what was his plan? And I think you know his plan and the genius of it. You just haven't put the pieces together yet. Okay, so I've read through all your article and your data about have we evolved to be super jump? Like what is the plan here going? Is it a suicide mission? Like what actually is going on? But what do we know about the dragons in this universe? Tell me what you know about the dragons, Mark.
They eat ash.
They eat ash.
There aren't that many of them left.
Okay, but go back to they eat ash.
Yeah.
They have to, like a fly, break something down to its most simple form to be able to digest it. Mm-hmm. So if your body is designed to need to break matter down to ash to eat it, how are they going to digest a fully at his peak McConaughey?
So he wants to choke the dragon.
I think he thinks he's going to kill that thing from the outside. There's no way the internal digestive system of that dragon that's ready to only digest ash is going to be able to handle an axe-swinging McConaughey.
Wow. So if Christian Bale would have just let that dragon exist, it would have slowly died from the inside because of the bones digesting inside of its stomach?
I don't think it even would have got that far. I think if they would have dissected that dragon after they got it, McConaughey is still alive in there. I don't think he's going to be a little scorched. He's not gonna look great, but he's got some skin burns. He's going to look like Boba Fett from The Mandalorian. That's what his life is going to be from now on. But I don't think that dragon's digesting McConaughey because the fire is an external way to prepare food, and that didn't happen. He just swallowed him.
No, but if we so we're looking right here. I'm looking at this clip, and McConaughey's torso is inside its mouth, and his head and legs are on the other side. So it's very possible that the dragon could have just dropped him.
That's true. Do you think the dragon bit him in half and then flew away?
Maybe pulled like a Deep Blue Sea, chopped him in half, and then left the rest, or chopped him in thirds.
Because that's the smart dragon move.
Yeah, because this dragon is smart. This is a smart dragon.
He needs to kill with his mouth and not ingest. See, I thought he originally swallowed him whole, and I was like, oh, McConaughey, you genius, because there's no way that dragon's going to be able to digest an axe-swinging McConaughey if he needs to eat Ash.
Well, his form is completely wrong to be swallowed whole here.
He should have dove,
yes.
Not jumped, but dove into that dragon.
Dove with the blade facing in.
Right.
So then the dragon opens up its mouth, and then the blade goes into it. So if he just did a swan dive into that, then that could plausibly just get stuck in the dragon's throat.
Right.
And he gets barfed out. Like, remember in Pacific Rim when Ron Perlman busts his way out of that creature?
Yeah.
It could have been that. But imagine if he just dives into it and just goes right in, swallows whole. It's just... I just love this scene, though, because you make this grounded 2002 film, and then you have a 35-foot jump followed by a quick murder. And I'm not going to... We love this movie. But when you watch Deep Blue Sea and Sam Jackson is killed suddenly, that's a surprise, and it's wonderful. But this time, when McConaughey died, no one in the theater went, oh my gosh, that's incredible, this is like the greatest surprise death of all time. Everyone just went, what? Right? Did anybody cheer?
It was the same reaction to Seagal in Executive Decision.
Yep.
Where you're like, oh, that's not right.
Yeah, just go on without me. And then, what? Yeah, there was no clapping in that.
No, there was befuddlement.
Wait, did that just happen? Right. So,
yeah.
I like that a movie will befuddle me, but that's why this scene is so memorable, because there's so few like them. So in this one, Seagal did. Like, Seagal's character kind of had to die. He had to do that to make the mission succeed, correct?
Let's say okay.
Okay. So he maybe could have gotten out, but let's just, for the sake of the plot, he had to do it. This one, McConaughey, he doesn't swan dive into its throat. He just kind of jumps. What if the dragon was a real trickster and just stopped, and McConaughey just landed on the ground? Imagine that.
Yeah. That would be the smart dragon move. Other dragons would be talking about and laughing about that for years.
Oh man, centuries later. You remember that time that Hank just stopped on a dime?
Okay, so we're calling this dragon Hank. That's its official name?
Yep, Hank.
Love it.
And just let that dude... Oh, no, this is the female, right?
Yes.
Oh, no, so it's not Hank. So
Henrietta.
Meg. Henrietta. Henrietta just stopped. And that dude just smacked on the ground. I just love it. And, I'm glad you joined this. Glad you to talk to me about this, because I really enjoyed just pausing this movie and putting up a ruler. So I paused this. I measured the distance. I measured how long McConaughey's body was, and then I went up to the screen and tried to match it. So it's like, I figured since he's scrunched up, he's 5 foot, get that length out 15 feet, then he travels further. I just had fun. There's times in my life where I really enjoy these dumb data pieces, because they're not dumb. But I enjoy these.
They're not dumb. Don't talk that way about it.
Well, the only reason I call them dumb data is that so many people are like, this is pointless. So if I put dumb data and they say this is pointless, then they look kind of silly, because I'm like, it's called dumb data. Does that make sense? It's a defense technique. But it's like when I put sticks in my backyard to measure how far Leatherface ran in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Remake, or when I was running around my truck to mimic Halloween 1978. There's some fun, like, random not science, but there's some fun added beats to these that I really enjoy. Because this is another thing too. I think, when you looked at these diagrams, when you looked at this post, did you have like a smile on your face?
Oh, it was highlight of my day.
I want people to Jimmy John's, waiting for their sub, anywhere, waiting for their sub sandwich to come out, and just reading this article and just laughing, then eating their sub sandwich, and then just having a nice day. Like, that's what I want these things to do. And I enjoyed just, like, I hand drew all these cheeky little graphics, and then Megan made them for me. But I wanted them to be really simple, just kind of fun and dumb. But I don't know, I just love how I figured this out. Like, this dude jumped 35 feet without dropping at all.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And it makes me very, very, very happy. So I'm glad we got to explore this. I'm glad we got to talk about this article. And then you wanted to do something though. You wanted to do a movie, a